What up, fam? It's your boy Adam Butler here to introduce a very special episode of MSR, man. We had an opportunity to sit down with you all, the listeners, the fans, the supporters, to have a live forum discussion on all things Black Panther. That's right. We called that thing Wakanda Talk. It was dope. Loved having the energy in the room from you all, man. It was a beautiful thing. We had good food, good drink. Oh, man, you should have been there. But if you did miss it, don't worry about it because that's what this show is about. We got the live audio from that one, man. So be warned, there is some background noise, and it's not going to sound like the normal studio show. But we really wanted to get you guys opportunity to hear this one and enjoy this one. And also, if you missed Wakanda Talk, don't worry. We're going to be doing more live shows, more live forums. Actually, we're going to do one once a month. That's a little announcement for you guys, man. So keep it locked for that, man. It's going to be on all sorts of topics, all sorts of subjects, and we're also going to have special guests, live interviews. It's going to be a beautiful thing, man. It's one of the natural next steps for MSR. So, again, we appreciate you all. Thank you for constantly supporting us. Those of you that came through Wakanda Talk, thank you for showing up. Those of you that want to come to the next event, we will have information for that one for the people that's in the Washington, D.C. area. Or if you're not in the Washington, D.C. area and you want to come down and join us, that'll be beautiful too. And we're also looking to do bigger things with that, man. Maybe even bringing it to your city at some point. So keep it locked for that. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is Wakanda Talk.
Check this out.
Finally,
Screen Radio
has come back. Home.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
For me, it's all to let us write our own stories. Right? I think that our controlling our narrative is extremely important. But to Adam's question, Suri was the main one that stuck to me because in the American structure, young black women are not in the STEM fields as much as their counterparts. Right? Black and brown men and women are underrepresented minorities in those fields. So having her control an entire nation, she built that, right, with her hands. Like, that's amazing. And that shows young black girls, young black boys that, yeah, I can also do really dope shit. You know what I mean? If I pay attention in math, or if I have the resources to pay attention in engineering things, or science and all those things, like, that's amazing. Of the things that we can create as people, we can help people, right, who have, who can't walk, right? People who have been born with what they feel is afflictions or whatever the case may be. Like, there's things that we can do to help this thing go further. And I think that's amazing, scholarly, you know what I mean, for young people. So she stood out to me because at the end, he said, yo, we're somewhere completely different, but this is where I want you to head up. And she's like, oh, word? So now that's another narrative.
Right.
And she wasn't no dork, bro.
Right.
Like, I think that's like,
dope,
I think that's like
she
a lot.
was stereotypical.
Right. Yeah, you took it. That's exactly it right there. Any last points on this one before we move on to the next question?
Anybody out there? I'll just say this: the and it's things within the Marvel universe, and then there's things just for overall. When you think about film, and then you just think about life. When you think about, like, because the fact that this film is almost done, was done over $1 billion worldwide now, right?
I think it did $1 billion worldwide. I think it's 700 or 800 million in domestic. And that's not. Who knows what's going to happen on Monday? Like, the new numbers are coming.
The fact that it's going to open up more doors to allow other people to have. So we can talk about it in the Marvel universe, but we can also talk about it to the young boy, the young girl that's looking at these actors. That's looking at the fact that there are writers behind the scenes. That's looking at the fact that Ryan Coogler is a 31-year-old kid from Oakland, California, and he was able to infuse things directly from the community into one of the largest films ever. So I think, like, it's so dynamic within the Marvel universe and well beyond it for black people in film.
The last point I want to get to, because it's 10 o'clock, but I do want to talk about Wakanda in general. because I think Wakanda is awesome. Obviously, on screen and in the book, it's awesome, right? There's a thing called vibranium, and you can fix a spinal injury, or you could have a damn flying.
Get that.
Word up. Yeah, I agree. You should have that. Or you can have a damn flying train, right? But a conversation is because you did. It was like what I say. Oh my bad. Oh my right. Yeah. Or you know.
You would ask about the
Damn.
Oh my Lord, Chris went there. Let's continue, please.
I'm going to be in the spirit of Wakanda, and I'm not
right, and let that go.
I'm going to leave that alone.
There we go.
Okay, but anyhow, what I was saying is that the idea of Wakanda is something that people have been talking about a lot. I went to a similar event. Shouts to Unique Jones Gibson. They were talking about it. Was in the heart of PG County, right in Hyattsville, where there's been a lot of building going on. A lot of what's up, brother? A lot of art district is building up. What happened? And the mayor of Hyattsville was actually at her event, and she got up and she talked about how like this can be Wakanda, right? Like we don't have to have obviously all these sci-fi technological advantages in order to be Wakanda, but that a strong black community or a strong community in general can be Wakanda, you know what I mean? And I thought that was really, really interesting. And the question I wanted to ask, because a couple people asked about Wakanda, so I'm kind of like clumping all their questions together. But one thing I wanted to ask, and P, I'll start with you on this one, bro. Like, is it necessary to build a Wakanda? Because again, we got people walking around literally doing this, right? We got people barking at white folks, calling them colonizers, and doing this. By the way, bark at white people. I think you should bark at when the white person
any chance you get.
Bark at them, and then get your ass fired.
Yeah.
Bark at Donald Trump.
Well, yeah, bark at Donald Trump for sure. But do you think that, it's necessary to build a Wakanda?
It's necessary to build that mindset. Mm-hmm. It's necessary to. I think it's Wakanda is a thought process. Now, obviously, It can be an actual place. Something that we were talking about earlier on the show when you were alluding to when you were at the other event, and they were talking about this area. They were talking about the Prince George's County area and how we are the most affluent, richest black province in America.
Yeah,
right?
at one point, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, at some point in time.
Right. But we were talking about that with the Marion Barry thing.
I don't know if and I think that everything stems from an ideal. Right, so for all the naysayers that were complaining about people celebrating themselves and dressing up to go see a movie and this, that, and the third, that sentiment is ridiculous. And we do need a Wakandan mindset. You know what I'm saying? And to where it will affect the community. Maybe we don't have to be in totality separatists from other people, or maybe we do need to be. You know what I'm saying? But we do need that mindset in community building. And the fact that, so I appreciate the fact that it showed all of these black people in a smart manner. You understand what I'm saying? Like the dudes wasn't crooks. You know what I'm saying? The women went like it's like we are.
Wale's there.
In truth,
Wale was in Black Panther. Didn't y'all know that?
In truth.
Yeah, and real quick, sorry, bro. I know you're making this like excellent point, but like I recognized him when I saw it the first, and that nigga looked like Wale. That was Wale. Yeah, like he's in the market when T'Challa's walking around, he's dancing and everything. Yeah, Wale.
It was him, but I was like,
Hey, wasn't he in fact beating his feet though?
It looked like he beat his feet.
He wasn't chopping, but he was like,
yeah, some phone
It's the
positives.
introduction to beating of
Yeah, no, it's real. He was literally. They are big things because yeah.
That's so good. That was a great joke, Britt. Nah, but what I'm saying, man, it's just for. So we were sitting there, and when you and I got out of the movies, we were talking about, there were moments in the movie that speak directly to African Americans, like directly to them. That one shot when they come in and the Public Enemy poster is right there on the wall, like without you and I even talking about it, you heard me when I was like, like you literally. So like we were talking about the fact that a white person can sit directly beside you and you can be right here and you guys can watch a totally different film. Like the intimate level that film was speaking to us.
Yeah.
Like to us about the African diaspora, about the way that we view Native Africans, the way that Native Africans view us as African Americans. You know what I'm saying? So to see, so we we need a Wakandan mindset, and we need Wakanda infused into our community. Does it need to be on the grandiose scale of the actual Wakanda? No, but we need that mindset to start seeping in immediately.
There is a Wakanda mindset.
Immediately.
It's called Black nationalism.
Yes.
It's called Pan-Africanism.
Yeah.
And I think
I'm just saying, like, it exists.
Right? No.
Well, no, I thought you were.
I'm sorry. No, I'm saying, like, I feel like it exists. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a thing. Like, was it Dick It was somebody who was like, integration is like the worst thing that could have happened to black people.
Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King said it too.
I feel I integrated my people to a burning house.
Okay, yeah.
Malcolm
I know it's a common thought process, right? So integration is what got us out of the Wakandan mindset, because integration is what made us think that we could be equal. Part of the system that we don't belong to. So it's like, okay, now that we're integrated, we can get a piece of this pie that we don't even fucking eat naturally in our diet in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So you have your nations within a nations that have been attempted to be created. We're just not open-minded enough or unselfish and unspoiled enough to make the sacrifices that is necessary to actually globally help that shit thrive. Like, more than just buying a bean pie and donating to a GoFundMe.
And buying a bean pie. Go ahead.
Do you think because of our steep, what we've been steeped in here in America, because this is certain things that has been ingrained in it, is there a way, like, can we do that, like, as African Americans?
So it would be nice if we had some mentors.
I think we
from the continent to show us.
So I think we have.
You know what I mean? But I don't know if that's realistic.
It's called Black Wall Street.
It got burned down.
I know. But
It's not here no more.
But what I mean is though is like that. Like everyone's saying, the idea. We can have that again. We can have our black dentists. We can have our black doctors. We can have our black banks. We have black banks.
Yeah,
we don't support them.
Yeah.
Right. Even I don't. Right. So I mean, I'm not excluded from that, but we have a lot of these black institutions that we don't support, we don't promote, we don't love on, and we can build that. But again, we are a part of this institution, and we sometimes have this double consciousness. We have this conflict of we want better, but sometimes we don't. I don't want to say we don't want to do better, but sometimes it's difficult to bring everyone together.
We don't want to make the sacrifices.
Well,
the greater
I think, and y'all please feel free to jump in, but I think that to me a Wakandan mindset doesn't necessarily, because I think one of the lessons of Wakanda was the isolationism wasn't necessarily the best thing for them either, right? So I think that embracing black culture has always been an important thing to me. Me and him talk about, we used to argue about this, and I used to be totally wrong about this, by the way. And my job, it's a pretty laid back thing. Everybody gets to dress down, but I watch each individual culture celebrate their culture openly and loudly. They, in any way they feel possible. And you see it more at a place that doesn't have like a strict dress code and things like that. Like you see them come in with the Irish t-shirt or whatever, and they openly respect and love their culture. So part of it is what is our culture? How do we learn our culture? But when you learn things about your culture, I think we have to, as African Americans, have to learn that there's nothing wrong with black culture. The things you learn about black culture is all bullshit. It's all, black people ignorant. The things that we're naturally good at, we're taught that they're wrong, right? Like, okay, being athletic is like some type of sin. Curse. Right. Being talented is a sin. Being musical or whatever is like a sin. When Italians, they represent that type of stuff all the time, right? So when a small way that you can get a Wakandan mindset, I think, is that respecting, understanding, learning, building, and having a black culture before we can get into talking about teaching somebody to, and I'm not saying because the ultimate goal would be like, oh yeah, and by the way, then you love black culture, then respect this black business, respect this black institution. But if you don't even respect yourself as a black person, real quick, I've told this story 1,000 times. When the Trayvon Martin thing happened, before it turned into the thing, when it turned to the hoodie thing, Paul, you were there. We were mentoring some young men at at
Hart Middle School.
Hart Middle School. And I was asking the young men, it didn't seem fazed by it, and we would talk about it. We were trying to, help them, like, yo, what do you think about this? And they're the same age as Trayvon was, right?
Yes, they were.
And I said to them, I just asked them, do you think that, like, do you think he deserved this? Like, do you think that he did something to earn this? And they kind of just was like this. And I was like, wow, do you think that black men, these are all black boys, I said, do you think that black men are just naturally angrier and more violent than other races of men? And they all, 12, 13, 14 years old, all said yes.
All of them.
Everything we're taught about ourselves is negative. Anything good about ourselves, anything positive that should be positive is negative. So you talking about building a Wakandan mindset, you got to start there by understanding, that's why the movie is great, that you are dope. We aren't as shitty and fucked up. You look, the stats will tell you we're not as bad off as everybody tells you we are. And the things that we do have problems with is because it's systematic, not because we're just born stupid. So I think when you build that mindset, it comes from respecting yourself and respecting your people first, and then I can respect institutions, and then I can build things and do like that. And it's just going to be a process. Go for it, bro.
Proud of yourself.
I mean, what you're saying is exactly what I was about to say. Trayvon Martin, that was a big moment for us because we all came together. We marched. I remember going to the big rally down D.C. It was like almost like a couple thousand of us out there just marching in the rain. You know, that happens. We support each other when it's possible. When we have to make it natural. Like my man said, you know, that we have a theory that we can support something great like a movie. We can support our youth. We do everything for our kids every single day, but we need more mentors. We need more black educators. We need more black teachers. We need more black positivity in the world, and we can make that happen. We have a woman right now. We have a black director for A Wrinkle of Time.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't know that. We have another movie coming out about a black woman director. She's like directing over $100 million budget movie. Yeah, so it's happening right now. We are getting our time, but we don't support each other enough. Only when there's problems. So we support each other when there's a problem. We never come up with solutions. We only have problems. When Trayvon Martin's situation happens, oh my God, we gotta support him. When a movie come out, we gotta come support it. But let's do it naturally. Let's support each other all the time. Black businesses, black companies, black corporations, black teachers, black doctors. We need to do this like naturally and every day, so our children, like his daughters, and like every other children, can say, "Wow, my people are evolving every single day."
Coffee.
I want to correct you on one thing. I think we do support each other. I think that we need to celebrate the fact that we support each other a little bit more. Because we get into that narrative too, that we don't never support each other. We do,
but I'm just saying,
this
like,
movie just made $1 billion.
Issues to come up. We always wait for like an issue.
I agree, but I think that there are people that celebrate and embrace positivity, and I think that we should celebrate that as well. Instead of,
I mean, like, you know, what you said was right about the Trayvon Martin thing. We, like, you know, not just about him, but just about any entity that happens. We do.
I agree. Go ahead.
I think when it comes to a Wakandan mindset, I think part of the problem is, like, when you talk about the power of this film, right, and what it does and what it means. Everybody's talking about Wakanda now. You have any idea how old Wakanda is?
Right.
Black Panther's been around since 1966.
Right.
It's been there for you to read and know about and have knowledge of for as long as you wanted.
Agreed.
It wasn't taken seriously because it wasn't on a big enough scale. It wasn't on a big enough screen. It wasn't global enough. It was, you know, whatever the reason is. But anybody in this room could have been reading about Wakanda and learned about what it was and how strong those characters were.
You could have watched the cartoon on BET like 7 years ago.
They didn't push, right? Because it didn't move. You know what I mean? And I think that speaks to where we are as a whole, right? So if there's a black woman who's directing A Wrinkle in Time, for me personally, I think if you want to go see A Wrinkle in Time, you go see A Wrinkle in Time because it's important to you. I don't think you go see A Wrinkle in Time because somebody black is doing it, right? If you're not interested, you don't do it. Like, I won't support a black business because it's black. I will support it because it does good work. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's where I am and who I am. And like, my oldest daughter is mixed. I can't just walk around teaching her, you know, she knows her black side more than she knows her white side. You know what I mean? But both parts matter to her. You know what I mean? Like, culture isn't just like our culture. Isn't just our culture. We have discussions all the time about like what it means. Are people stealing hip hop culture? Are people stealing? Did they steal our music? Did we steal the NBA? We didn't invent basketball. You know what I mean? They stole bungee jumping from us. We did that first. in a much more dangerous way, using vines off of a platform as a rite of passage. You understand what I'm saying? We don't steal cultures, we share culture. And then when it grows, right, and it gets outside of the borders, everybody assimilates and makes whatever they like their own thing. You know what I mean? I don't dress like the typical nerd, geek, whatever, right? What I do is infuse with my hip hop background, with my music background, with my, you know what I mean? Like, I don't fall into that regular, like the stereotypes don't mean anything to me. They all exist. But they don't, that's not it. And we shouldn't be held to them.
Go for it. And my man
real fast. That's organic. I think when we start talking about people taking over cultures or you know, it's the capitalism pieces, the money pieces. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I mean, just for the conversation's sake, I know you knew that, but just, you know, for the conversation's sake, you know, I think it's just when it's able to be like monetized. Right. That's when that's when we start to.
And I think it's also on us too, and we're going right to you, brother. I think it's also on us to protect. I think because other ethnic groups or groups, they protect their culture, right? You know where it came from. Sometimes our stuff gets lost, and it's like, yo, you have to remind me. I didn't even know that, Bungie. I did not know that at all.
I know
you know what I'm saying? Like, but I learned, like, you know what I'm saying? So like that needs to be protected. But your point, I definitely agree with you 100%. Go for it, bro.
Well, we need to embrace the new Wakandan mindset. Because remember, they were just closed off. We need to embrace. Also, I feel that T'Challa was dealing with privilege. Realized he was a privileged black man. He was a prince. He wasn't doing nothing for nobody. So we did embrace that aspect. I was fortunate to go to private school, but I spent all my day volunteering with Red Cross and CERT down for that apartment complex in Suitland. So I had the opportunity to do that. Everyone can't do that. So the people who have the opportunity, the ones who we got the good degrees, everyone's doing stuff, but we got to embrace people doing that more. Cause, you know, we just stay in our little I might stay in high school, my little black girl over here, but I got to go down and help out the others who don't have the means.
Straight up, bro.
That's what we got to do.
Straight up.
That's such a good point. On the show earlier, we were talking about that. When and we're gonna take a couple more comments. You know, we're gonna take a couple more comments and we're gonna wrap this thing up. And we appreciate y'all for coming through. Yeah, y'all can eat the rest of that food and do whatever. We were talking about that earlier because a friend of mine wrote this long post about how, like, Wakanda already existed. It existed in PG County. I saw black doctors. I saw black this. I saw black that. She's speaking to how PG County used to be the most affluent, you know, county in the nation. But she was coming from this aspect of, like, why y'all geeking over this? We got this. And what I said to her, and a lot of people said to her, was like, yeah, you had that.
Right.
You saw that.
Right.
But there are people that did not. And even you are being isolated and you know, you're holding on to your piece of culture, your experiences, and you aren't sharing it. Bro, do you remember back when you were running track? I told this story earlier. Back when you were running track and your man didn't. I don't even know if this was your friend or not, but we talking about the SATs, and we was like, "Dad, you gonna take your SAT?" I think it cost like $25, and that dude was like, "Man, I ain't about to spend no $25 on no SAT." And me and this guy were like, "What?" But that's because we came from families that helped us understand that you better take your damn SAT. This man, $25 was some mumble sauce and chicken wings. What are you thinking?
Dinner.